one of the things that's really bugging me is, where does this leave Pakistan?
Because we go in circles, and we just keep going in circles, until, as we have now we start running out of fuel.
Multiple martial laws, hybrid governments. To me, I mean, again, maybe I'm just being like slightly idealistic or romantic about this whole thing, but I think it gives me so much faith in this country that given half a chance, people want to have their say.
I would be the last person to be accused of idealism, but I agree with you.
Welcome to Dawn News English broadcast. We're talking about elections in Pakistan. It's been more than 24 hours, and yet the picture isn't entirely clear. From the results we've had so far, we know that independent candidates who were backed by Imran Khan's party have won most number of seats. Nawaz Sharif's party and his candidates are appearing to be in the second, and People's Party, Bilawal Bhutto Zardari's party, has the third biggest chunk. But all this could change as more results trickle in. There's a lot of frustration in the country over the delay of results. To talk about this, I have Zarrar Khuhro with me. Zarrar, we've been traumatized, and this is really bizarre, the whole thing. We've seen this before.
Not even the first time.
It's not even first time. What do you make of it?
Well, I mean, first I'd like to talk about my PTSD. In the last elections, there was this thing called the RTS.
Yes.
What did that stand for?
Result Transmission System.
Yeah. And then suddenly, like around at the stroke of midnight, the witching hour, you know, when the devils walk loose among us, the RTS collapsed, right? And then we were just sitting there, or no results were coming in until I think like somewhere around 8 a.m., 9 a.m. And then it was like, well, here you go, right? This time it's much, much worse. Because the Election Commission, Pakistan, had swore on a stack of Bibles or Qurans in this case, speaking metaphorically purely, that, you know, by 2 a.m. come hell or high water, we will announce results, and, you know, and if not, then, you know, whatever, do whatever you want. And it is now, what, 6 p.m. the next day?
More than 24 hours.
It's been well over 24 hours. And, you know, I mean, now, of course, now, to be fair, the initial results that you're getting will from a few polling stations, right? Like, say, 10 out of 300, okay? In those, you could see in most constituencies, many constituencies, that the PTI-backed candidates were leading. Now, all things being equal, we always have a caveat, a little disclaimer that, you know, these are certain polling stations, perhaps they're in the PTI strongholds. As time goes on, the, you know, the picture can change and the counts can change. We would be willing to, I mean, I would, and I think you would too, be willing to accept that if all of a sudden the results don't stop. And the results did stop. Again, ironically, around the witching hour. You know, so
that raises a lot of questions, right?
Well, I mean,
what the hell is going on with your digital system, with the Election Commission? I mean, one of the things that's really bugging me is the Election Commission isn't coming forward with a plausible explanation of what is going on.
None.
They are kind of missing in action on the day of election.
You had, you know the meme, you had one job. This is it. You had one job. Now, some might argue that they're doing the job really well. But that also, maybe like, I mean, I'm talking about like that actual job description, not the one written in invisible ink on the back of the envelope. You know.
So, where does this leave Pakistan? That is the bigger question, right? Everyone who's like watching Pakistan, you know, thinking, well, this is an election, there will be a coalition government, there will be some political stability. But with this sort of election, where does this leave the country?
Okay, so in Pakistan, we like to, sometimes for reasons of self-preservation, rely on euphemism and metaphor. And one political metaphor that we love using is, I'll say it in the Urdu first, mulk nazuk mor se guzar raha hai, which means, roughly transliterated in, that we are at a crucial juncture. I don't think it's a juncture. I think it's a roundabout. Because we go in circles, and we just keep going in circles, until, as we have now we start running out of fuel. Right? So pretty much that's what it is. And I mean, you know, what really, I mean, to be honest, what really gets me, what really upsets me, is that the amount of energy we spent conquering ourselves, were we to direct that outwards, were we to direct that towards some positive outcome, we'd be in a very different place in the world right now. I apologize, my phone's ringing, I'm just going to switch it off.
So you know what, when I woke up this morning, obviously quite frustrated and tired, the thing that
I have a migraine right now.
you have a migraine, I have a headache.
Yeah.
Sorry, but that's how it is.
Yeah.
I also then sort of really appreciated how people still came out to vote.
Absolutely.
You know, and how they voted for the candidates who they believe need to win. Many of these candidates are not known,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They weren't allowed to campaign, and despite the entire sort of the crackdown and efforts to demotivate them, I mean, for me, this is a silver lining. In a country where we have denied people their right to have their say, multiple martial laws, hybrid governments, to me, I mean, again, maybe I'm just being like slightly idealistic or romantic about this whole thing, but I think it gives me so much faith in this country that given half a chance, people want to have their say.
I would be the last person to be accused of idealism, but I agree with you. And I think they could resist. Repression breeds resistance, and it breeds innovation. And we are nothing if not an innovative people. Now, I mean, take a look. Take a look at the PTI's incredibly adaptive, incredibly resilient campaign, right? Okay, so they took away the election symbol, which was supposed to lead to confusion that, oh, you know, nobody knows who they're going to vote for. The PTI countered that. They came out lists. Okay, so they were like, all right, so it's an online list. What if they were to turn the internet off? Then they made an offline app. Then they linked it, or they hosted it on GitHub, which means that if you take that down, you practically take down Pakistan's software industry. So you saw this sort of political guerrilla warfare.
And can I also admit, I mean, I having looked at PTI, I have always believed, and a lot of other people, that it is a personality-based party. And
All
you remove the
parties are.
leader and the party will collapse. He's in jail. He's been convicted of a number of cases. And the question I had was, how will it work without him? And his supporters have shown that that it does work. They delivered on the election day, right? They have tried at least.
I think him being in jail might have actually ended up being the best thing for the PTI.
Yeah.
In the sense that, I mean, of course, he's prone to very emotional reactions.
Yeah.
We are not seeing that right now. It's too soon to tell. I think what we might see is a much more calculated, much more cool-minded approach by the current...
More sensible.
More sensible.
This again shows an evolution in the party.
Yes,
you know?
one would like to think so. Absolutely. Again, too soon to tell, but this is what it seems right now. The other thing is that, look, there's the PTI voters, and then there's a massive amount of fence sitters, right? Who are generally annoyed, who are just generally angry. And they're angry for a bunch of reasons. You know, economic turmoil, constant this history of engineering that you've seen. And we've always had a history of resistance to that engineering, resistance to it in the face of repression, right? Now you saw, sorry, just one last thing. Sorry.
The biggest factor that I have talked to people about is this sense of victimhood, that, you know, Imran Khan has been wronged. And now this is our say, our peaceful say, to tell them that this is not acceptable.
This is our giant
this is not good enough. So I want to briefly talk about the guy who's supposed to be the prime minister fourth time, right?
Before that, if I may just add one thing. I mean, look, they always overdo it, right? It's called overkill. You don't need to go there. And the thing is that it gives the opposite reaction. Look, you put the man you gave the man a 10-year sentence, followed by a 14-year sentence. I get the followed by 7, but in incredibly disgraceful case. The case, I can't go into the details of that. You can look it up if you want. That one, I think, really flipped a lot of people. Really flipped a lot of people. I mean, I shouldn't speak personally for myself, but even I was like, yeah, come on, man, really.
It's going way too low.
And I mean, this is anecdotal. This is not a scientific survey, but so many people I spoke to were like, yeah, I don't necessarily even like the guy or the party, but come on. This is ridiculous. So let's not ignore that.
Okay, so, you know, in Pakistan in the last month or so, everyone was predicting that PMLN, Nawaz Sharif, you know, in the lead.
Simple majority.
Even international media said, well, he's the next prime minister, all signs. And they are quiet for the last 24 hours. They are trying to make sense of what has happened, right? I don't think they expected this. They probably feared this, but they didn't really think it will come down to so many independents. This is a record in a country where, you know, the elections are party-based elections. So any idea what's going through their mind and what are they likely to do now?
Man, look, they may well form the government, but I think it will be a poison chalice for them. I think it'll be a poison chalice for them. Because Mia Saab, Nawaz Sharif, I mean, he enjoyed a resurgence when he tried to capitalize on the anti-establishment vote. He can't do that anymore. Now, his sort of claim to fame or what he offers the voters has always been mega projects. Okay, I made the motorways. Yes, he did. I put up these power plants. Yes, he did. The credit where credit is due.
Yeah.
But that was when you had the fiscal space for it. Right now, what is he going to offer? So the point is that, I mean, again, you know, presumptuous of me to say this, perhaps, but if I was the PTI, just play the long game, right? And let them collapse under the own weight of how controversial these elections have been.
Yeah.
Of you know, a mandate that most people really aren't going to accept. And you can't even, you know, like in the old Mughal times, right? When you wanted to like shut someone up, you'd, you know, shove a bag of coins into his mouth. You don't have that bag of coins. You can't put food on people's tables. You know prices are going to go up. You know you're going to have to accept the IMF's dictates, higher gas prices, higher electricity prices, higher fuel prices perhaps, spiral of inflation. What are you going to do about it? You're going to become the sin eater, the whipping boy.
So I guess all eyes are on Nawaz Sharif's party, their possible next move. We still have a lot of results that we are waiting for. Things can still change quite massively. We will keep an eye on it and try and bring you an update.